it takes. And we have the amazing support of our, our supporters and our volunteers. You guys would be just blown away by the commitment of our volunteers, the endless hours they're putting in and ensuring that our rescue group is run well and that all of our dogs are happy and find really great homes. So I think we're pretty darn special. Looks like we're about ready to get started here at 6 o'clock. Just want to confirm that we are set to go. So if I can get a go ahead from someone, that would be awesome. Just make sure you guys are good with me starting. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. So I wanted to thank you guys for joining us this evening for Liberty's adoption ceremony. You know, as I was just saying, normally we do these in person, but due to COVID, we're staying home and celebrating this way. So the last time we shared a ceremony with you was back in 2018 when Liam was adopted. And our ceremonies are an important part of the adoption process and are definitely a way for us to celebrate our adopted dogs, but also welcome new adopters into our street dog family. Today is unique, not only because Mel and Kent are already a part of the street dog family, but they're the founders of our organization. You've gotten to know them through our rescue videos and stories, and you've gotten to learn about our dogs through Kent's great storytelling and Melanie's wonderful songs that she often makes up, which she's a wonderful lyricist. So we're very fortunate that the pups get to listen to her angelic voice. And tonight we are going to celebrate their special girl, Liberty. So Mel and Kent started Street Dog Foundation in 2009 after a trip to our local shelter. And after that heartbreaking experience, they committed themselves to a spiritual mission of rescuing dogs off the streets of Memphis and finding their forever homes. When they started, they could have never imagined that Street Dog Foundation would be what it is today. And they often expressed their gratitude for our volunteers and our supporters. Without all the love, we couldn't help as many of these dogs as we do. Libby's Rescue is the embodiment of our mission. It's volunteers dedicating days out in the heat and elements, while our supporters offer monetary support and words of encouragement. We were first alerted to Liberty's situation via social media. One of our volunteers, Melanie, who's on tonight with us, and I were at work, and we were chatting back and forth on our chat feature at work, and we were looking at this photo of Liberty wandering the streets with a jar stuck on her head, and we both said, we can't sit here, we have to go do something. So Mel and I went out, we met up where Liberty had been seen, and we did not spot her for over an hour, and then finally we spotted her, and she was sleeping, and so I very quietly tried to go up to her, and she woke up. She must have some sort of spidey senses. She woke up and took off running into the fields behind this subdivision. So that started what would be over a week of trying to rescue Liberty. So at that point, Melanie put together a whole rescue team of about 50 volunteers who worked around the clock to get Liberty. She remained elusive, and the area where we were looking was surrounded by vacant, overgrown fields with a lot of waterways and endless places to hide. Remember, this is the end of June going into July, so it was brutally hot, like, you know, it has been, just any sort of Memphis summer. So I'd like to kind of kick it over to Chelsea, because I want her to share her experiences with our attempts to get Liberty. So Chelsea, can you tell me what made you want to join this rescue for Liberty?
Yeah, so I saw the picture of her with the bucket on her head, and I knew that I had to find some way to help. It was so hot, I couldn't just let her be out there and not do something to help. Thankfully, I was on summer break, so I knew that I had a lot of time that I could dedicate to helping rescue her.
And how many days did you spend out there with looking for her?
Been about 5 days.
Okay. And I know that we were a little bit worried about her surviving and you know the amount of days, but what about your survival out there? What happened to you?
Well, that's a whole nother story. But we had gone, a bunch of volunteers, and not only was it hot and we were worried about Liberty, but we were tracking through the woods trying to find any sighting of her we could, listening for her bucket maybe hitting the trees, and I managed to step on a thorn that went straight through my shoe and into my foot. So that was a little traumatizing, but it was worth it in the end.
The ultimate sacrifice for our girl. So Elena, what made you decide you wanted to help? Oh, Elena's muted. There you go.
I had been following the rescue for about 5 days via the GroupMe chat, where the 50 plus volunteers led by Mel had come together and were communicating the rescue. At this point on day 6, I believe, a trap had been set by a tree that Liberty frequented, and a this ring camera had been set up. So around the clock monitoring of what was happening and monitoring that trap could be watched. And I was having a bad day actually, and I really thought I just need to get out of the house and go do something worthwhile. And I called a friend, and she came over and we packed some leashes and some treats and water. And I remember telling her, I just have this feeling that we're going to get this dog. And it's strange that I had that feeling because this was actually my first rescue. And so we drove out to where Liberty had been hanging out. And we got out of our car, and another volunteer was there, Jackie, because at this point there was going to be a big sweep later that night, and we were kind of there just to keep her in the area that that a bunch of volunteers had planned to sweep later that evening. And there were some alcoves, and Jackie was set up at one, and my friend and fellow volunteer Jean was at the other one. And it was extremely hot. The brush was so thick. There were so many bugs. And then a message came in from the GroupMe, and I'll let Jackie go ahead and tell the rest of that story.
Awesome. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
All right, good. So, yeah, we got the notification that she had made it into the trap, and at that point, I think she had already, there had been some videos of her collapsing because it was so hot. And we got there, and she growled, but she had this on her head. So, and I would have growled too if this had been on my head for a week.
Right.
I would have been pretty upset. If you can't see, it's cracked in. So we got
And
her.
that was there when you guys got her that crack or the dent in there.
Yes. No. Well, there was a little dent in it, and we had been wondering how she'd been able to survive. And there was the little dent, so it was holding some water, and it had rained a little bit, so she had the ability to drink. But when we got her into my car, I think we triple leashed her. Got her into the back of my car, and I won't tell you how fast I drove to the emergency clinic.
We ran.
But we were concerned I was concerned in the car. I didn't want to jack up the temperature to be too cold because I didn't want her body to go into shock. And this was filled with ticks. She was covered in ticks. They were falling off of her. And yeah, and we made it to the emergency clinic in record time. And she was so sweet once we got her in the car too. She just kept looking at me like, "Are you going to take this off?" And I couldn't because we were driving really fast, but I also didn't know if it would come off of her head.
Right, definitely. That was a definite concern of ours. So I know we have that video of her getting the bucket off for the first time. If we could play that, that would be awesome.
It's okay. It's all right, little girl. It's okay. There we go. Hold on to her right.
No, the less is more.
Okay. Sorry. All right, here we go.
There you go.
Miss Liberty is here, and she just wants to tell all of you out there, from people on the rescue team all the way to the supporters that were on our media sites, thank you so much.
It was hard for me because there were times that I didn't know if we were going to get her, and if we did get her, would she still be alive?
I've been volunteering with Street Dog for over 5.5 years now, and it has been the most rewarding experience I've ever had in my entire life.
And we ran, and she was in the trap, and we leashed her up and got her out of there and got her in the car as soon as possible and raced over here to the vet.
And was actually supposed to be coming out to do sweeper duty today at 6 o'clock, and was just overwhelmed with joy when I saw that she had walked herself into the trap today, and was actually very moved to tears to see that my night has opened up.
Rescue. Never did see her. Sat in the woods. It was hot. My heart was just sad for her, and it was really hard to leave knowing she was still out there. But getting the message today when I got off work that she was rescued and we got to see her beautiful little face just made my day.
A huge shout out goes to Mel Tobin for that. She made that video spotlighting everything that we went through, the final moments of Liberty getting that bucket off her head. And it was great to have something to document that. After she got the help she needed at the emergency clinic, she was transported to Grace, where she got more medical attention. And once she was healthy enough, she was able to go to a foster home.
So Sharon, tell us about that foster home.
Well, interesting enough, I just kind of fell into fostering Liberty. The first evening after she was rescued, Kent and Melanie decided they were going to foster her. And Melanie called me up and said, "Oh, we just rescued Liberty. Come on over and meet her." And I said, "Okay, great." And I came over and I met her in the living room, and she was scared and frightened and didn't know any of us, but she was hanging in there. And of course, Kent and Melanie were leaving to go out of town the next morning, and I was going to be staying at their house watching the Pafford pups. And after spending a little bit of time with Liberty, Melanie's like, "So you think you could watch her too, along with the rest of the Pafford pups?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, okay, all right." For various reasons, Kent and Melanie turned out to be gone for almost a whole month after that. So I actually got to spend a lot of time with Liberty very early on and the rest of the Pafford pups, and had the opportunity to see her slowly start to trust me and trust the other dogs. And really her little personality started to come out, and she was just recovering so nicely. And it was really a treat and an honor to see her developing that way. And just seeing her putting on weight and, starting to be playful and wanting to interact with me so much. And it's just really, it's I think one of the best things about fostering is seeing how much the dogs improve, and just seeing how their personalities blossom and how they learn to trust again, even though horrible things have happened to them and they've got no reason to trust people, but they do. They're very forgiving that way. At the end of the first month that she'd been rescued, she was heartworm positive, and a part of the treatment for heartworm, once they begin the injections, they have to remain calm and quiet and limit their activity, because it's a dangerous time for them while the heartworms are dying off. And just because she had just blossomed so much, her little personality, and she loved to play with the rest of the Pafford pups, we just knew that that wasn't going to work out very well for her to stay with Kent and Melanie while she was undergoing the heartworm treatment. And I had fostered some other dogs before undergoing heartworm treatment. I live in a condominium. It's very boring at my house for dogs, so it's like perfect for heartworm treatment. So Liberty came to my house during the critical stages of her heartworm treatment, and I just continued to see her grow and her trust more and just become more of this, show us what a sweet dog she really is and really was. And I just kind of want to encourage anybody out there who thinks that they don't have a house that's good for fostering dogs because you either don't have a dog or you don't think much goes on in your house. You might be the perfect foster for a dog that's undergoing medical treatment or heartworm treatment. And, you know, don't think that, you know, you have to have another dog or anything like that. It's super important for us to have a variety of different kind of foster situations for pups to go into. And you might have the perfect place. Your place might be boring for a dog, and that might be exactly what that dog needs.
And I think you really highlighted kind of what is so great about fostering on both sides. So not only are you fostering, you know, the dog, but you're also fostering this wonderful personality and comfort to come out. You know, a lot of these dogs from the streets have had trauma or have had just a life that's unsure, and having you know, that sort of consistency is so important. And then, you know, for us as humans, we get, you know, all that unconditional love, and to be able to watch a dog, you know, thrive in our home. So Sharon, I understand that you're now Liberty's godmother. So when did you realize that Mel and Kent weren't letting her go?
Yes, I'm very happy to be Liberty's godmother. You know, in retrospect, I could maybe say it was even that first night, even though Liberty was scared and kind of terrified and not sure about any of us. There was a moment in time when she flashed us this really cute toothy smile, and both Melanie and I were, oh, she's smiling, and I was like, ah, yeah. So that might have been it. But of course, you know, you don't necessarily think that at the time because she had such a long way to go then. I think a couple months ago, Melanie and I had a conversation, and Melanie was talking about how much Liberty loves to be around people, and she just wants to be around you and love you all the time and show you how much she's so happy she is and how much she loves you. And in talking to the people who lived in the neighborhood where she was rescued, and kind of how much effort that Liberty went to distance herself from humans and people just because she was scared of them and she wasn't sure of them and bad things that happened to them, and to see how much she actually loves people. It really, when Melanie said that to me, I was like, oh yeah, Melanie's probably really hooked on that. But I didn't know for sure until Liberty asked Kent on Father's Day if he would be her daddy, and Kent said yes.
Yeah, I could tell very early on that Libby was not going anywhere, because anytime we asked if Liberty was adoptable, Mel got a little nervous about that. So I'm going to let Mel and Kent kind of talk to you about when they knew that Liberty was going to be their forever baby girl.
Hey Tina, hey everybody. So yeah, lots of speculation from different people on when Liberty was going to be a Pafford, a Liberty Pafford. So I could spend 2 hours telling you a lot of stuff because
but don't
talk a lot.
Yeah.
But don't. So here's what I'm going to do. I prepared something, Tina, for everybody where I could keep within the time limits of this, and it just kind of tells you about where our hearts are when we consider adopting a dog. Liberty, what is that moment when you know a sweet pup needs to be your forever baby? We fostered many, and we have loved each and every one. We know that to keep every pup who comes in this house means that we would not have room to help one more year after year. We know that we put our trust and faith in those who become each foster pup's forever families. And the blessing that we have as godparents to remain in their lives and build so many friendships this way. This is our third time in 11 years as Street Dog Foundation to say, this one has to be a Pafford pup. Each stayed with us longer than a year. Fiona, who was adopted in 2013, was up for adoption for several years. She went to every adoption day, but she would turn her back on everyone. Her eyes begged us, I want to be home with my family. Van Gogh, adopted 2016, after a year of physical healing, went to one adoption day, and we knew we couldn't take him to any more. His eyes beseeched us, I want to be home with my family. Liberty was so shy on that first night sleepover, yet greeted us with a rare, toothy grin that just melted our souls. Though she'd originally been somebody's family pet, she was unwanted and cast out on the streets. She eluded being caught for 9 months because of abuse and neglect, and to almost perish from dehydration and heat with a bucket caught on her head. She came to our house after being at the emergency center, and she just never left. Though shy outside of our house, she couldn't get close enough to Kent and I, often pushing against us so hard it was like she wanted to say, I love you so much. Please don't leave me. I just want to be a part of you. The eyes are truly the window to the soul, and to look into her eyes, you will know why we couldn't let her go. She just wanted to be home with her family.
Thank you for that. That was really sweet. I know you have had a lot of dogs in your home, and you have been amazing foster parents, and obviously you've been amazing leaders of our organization, but ultimately I think that you show us all how to be good dog moms and dads. So thank you for that. Something that we do at every adoption ceremony, or I'm sorry, Ken, did you want to say anything?
Well, I can be brief, but when I kind of knew that she was staying with us was she grew to trust us and Sharon fairly quickly in our home here. And so I was excited to get her out and about and meeting other people, and was a little surprised to see that even though she liked other people, she was still so afraid that her trust really was for a very small group of people. And when new people would meet her, she would just crush herself up against us. And I kind of knew then that I couldn't see putting her in a position where she would be in a new environment and not know these people and wonder what was going on, and that she didn't need to be separated from the people she learned to trust first.
Yeah, I love that she had that consistency in you guys. At every street dog adoption ceremony, we read a poem, and it is a poem that we read to every street dog when they get adopted. This poem is told from the dog's perspective, and it is a lot about what the dog's life will be like now that they don't have to worry about their life on the street. You know, we are obviously Street Dog Foundation. We rescue dogs off the street. We rescue dogs that don't know when their next meal is going to be. It's an entire life of unsurety, and so this poem really reflects that. So I'd like to read this poem to Mel and Kent and Liberty and all the Pafford pups that I know are probably out over there somewhere. So this poem is called Here in This House. I will never know the loneliness I hear in the barks of the other dogs out there. I can sleep soundly, assured that when I wake, my world will not have changed. I will never know hunger or the fear of not knowing if I'll eat. I will not shiver in the cold or grow weary from the heat. I will feel the sun's heat and the rain's coolness and be allowed to smell all that can reach my nose. My fur will shine and never be dirty or matted. Here in this house, there will be an effort to communicate with me on my level. I will be talked to, and even if I don't understand, I can enjoy the warmth of the words. I will be given a name, Liberty, so that I may know who I am among many. My name will be used in joy, and I will love the sound of it. Here in this house, I will never be a substitute for anything I am not. I will never be used to improve people's images of themselves. I will be loved because I am who I am, not someone's idea of who I should be. I will never suffer for someone's anger, impatience, or stupidity. I will be taught all the things I need to know to be loved by all. If I do not learn my lessons well, they will look to my teacher for blame. Here in this house, I can trust arms that hold, hands that touch, knowing that no matter what they do it for the good of me. If I am ill, I will be doctored. If scared, I will be calmed. If sad, I will be cheered. No matter what I look like, I will be considered beautiful and thought to be of value. I will never be cast out because I'm too old, too ill, too unruly, or not cute enough. My life is a responsibility and not an afterthought. I will learn that humans can almost, sometimes, be as kind and as fair as dogs. Here in this house, I will belong. I will be home. You're home! Congratulations! Yay! It's official! So when our pups become official, we give them an official street dog tag. This looks very similar to our standard t-shirts. It looks a little weird here, but it is actually purple. And all of our alumni get to wear these tags and show everybody at the dog park that they are a real girl and boy from the Street Dog Foundation. So congratulations. You will be presented your street dog tag so that everyone can know that Libby is officially yours.
Right. Oh, look, yes, that's yours.
And then another part, which I'm sure you guys can see now, we are very into traditions and having lots of fun things. So another thing that we have is all of our dogs get presented with a prayer blanket, and these blankets are made by our volunteers, and they pray over the pup that's getting adopted while they're making these blankets. So this one was made by our volunteer Beth, who is good friends of Mel and Kent, and she actually made this very patriotic since Liberty got her name because, you know, we were rescuing her around 4th of July. So thank you so much, Beth, for doing this one. And she actually also still has her blanket from For Angel Blessing Blanketeers, who that group makes our pups blankets as well, and sends them to us, and they make wonderful, wonderful blankets. So, but this one is from our volunteer Beth. Thanks, Lucy, for grabbing that for them.
Oh, this is beautiful. Look at your blanket. It's red, white, and blue for Liberty, and it has dog paws all over it and bones. Oh, let's get that blanket on you. Yes, let's get your own blanket. This is your blanket. Yes. This is your blanket. Yes. Every pup knows when they get their own blanket. It makes them feel so special.
You know, I love those blankets because even years later, we have our alumni that take pictures with their, you know, you see pictures of them laying on their blankets. So It's definitely an important part of our adopted dog's journey. So, Mel and Kent, I will open it to you for anything you want to say in closing. You certainly don't have to, but I want to give you the opportunity.
Thank you to all of our street dog volunteers and all of our fosters and everybody that helps make this happen. Because this little girl wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you from me.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Congratulations, and thank you all for joining us. This is such a great way to celebrate our pups and celebrate our foundation. So Liberty's adoption fundraiser is still open if you would like to contribute to her celebration and to honor her in that way. We are an organization that is fully funded on donations. So your donations mean so much to us, but more than anything, your support means everything. So thank you so much for joining tonight. Be safe, and hopefully we'll see you soon for another one of these. I'm kind of liking it, so we need to do some more of these. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining.
Bye.